what do you do in the first 24 hours after someone passed away? In this video, we're gonna talk to you about what's some things that you should be prepared for when something like this happen. And I'm assuming if you're watching this video, either you're going through this right now, or maybe you're thinking about what are you gonna do when it happens. So I hope this video helps. And my name is Alphonse,
and I'm Mio,
and we together have worked with 1,000 families, more than 1,000 families, and help them prearrange their funerals and arrange their funerals. So I'll leave this to Mio because he knows more about this. So what does someone do? Someone just passed away right now.
So that's a great question, and that's where it all begins. And what you do really depends on where you are when the person dies and where that person is. Mm-hmm. So just say that you have your grandma's sick and she's dying and she's at a hospital. If that's the case, if it's at a hospital or some kind of facility, usually what will happen if it's in a facility like a hospital or a nursing home, the doctor there will pronounce, the physician who's attending to that person. Now, they should have a funeral home on file who they should call. That's important. Now, you could call the funeral home before you alert them, but in the case that someone dies at home, usually you want to call 911 or the proper authorities because they would have to come and actually pronounce the person as deceased before the funeral home can come and make the transfer and bring the person under their care. So a lot of that depends, it's on the context of where the person is.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is, depending on where you are, you might want to call the emergency number, an emergency line, 911. But if you are at a hospital, what do you do then?
So then they're going to ask you, after they pronounce your loved one as being deceased, they're going to ask you, do you have a funeral home? Did you already make arrangements? Who should we call? A lot of hospitals, they're going to have a morgue where they can hold deceased people for a short amount of time, but they're not going to hold you for days. So they're going to want you to have a plan and have somebody to call that's going to come and bring the body under their care.
Okay. So then if someone does have that funeral home, or maybe, you know what, let's just go with someone who doesn't, this is the first time they're going through this. So they don't have a funeral home that they know. What do they do now?
Well, that could be a problem. I mean, now they're either in one situation where they have to go and shop around and visit different funeral homes and potentially get exposed to nefarious practices that could end up costing them more money and stress, or they could ask family or friends for a referral. They could also, a lot of people just go online now and just search for funeral homes in my area, and they'll go based on who has the most reviews or the best reviews. That's just the way it is nowadays. Also, another way people would find a funeral home is just to ask the doctor or the hospital. A lot of times they have a list of funeral homes they work with regularly that they trust, and they'll refer you to somebody. But I think that's, again, where the importance of pre-planning comes in, because you really want to have a plan. You don't want to be in that situation where someone you love died and you're even asking the question, who do I call? Even just that you have to ask that question, it means that we as a society are not doing a good job preparing people for that moment.
So then, let's just say with the funeral home stuff, let's just leave that. What happens in like the documents? Because people are always confused in terms of like, what documents do I really need to try and get for that person that passed away?
Right. Well, first of all, a lot of funeral homes now in most states, they file for the death certificates and the permits they need online through the county and through the government websites. So a lot of this is all electronic nowadays. But there are some important documents you'll want to bring. So it's important that you have the social security number for the person, bring their ID if you have it, a driver's license, just basic things like that. You don't need to bring a passport or a marriage certificate or a birth certificate. Those are unnecessary. But if the person's a veteran, you might need to bring discharge paperwork because you're going to have military honors. You might want to bring any insurance documents that pertaining to the pre-arrangements if anything's in effect. There are some things that you will need to bring, and in case you don't bring them to the first meeting, you can always send them back to the funeral home later or email them. So it's important that you have them, but it's important that you have access to them, not necessarily that you have them the moment the person dies. So.
All right. Then most of the time we normally see like a lot of chaos when people are going through this process. So how would you suggest people go through it that way to eliminate the chaos that can happen?
I think they got to pre-plan. It's a no-brainer. If you pre-plan, and pre-planning, people think it means prepaying. In all cases, it doesn't mean that. It can just mean having a phone number, who to call, like we're pushing in this episode, the importance of knowing who to call. And even if you didn't arrange everything or pick a casket or buy a grave site, which you probably should do in advance, it's just good to have a number, just to have it in your back pocket that I can call these people at 2 a.m. and I know they're going to respond and they're going to help me and understand what I'm dealing with. So, we'll talk a lot about, and in future videos, about free planning, which is really just pre-planning with no dollars being exchanged. And that can do a lot of work for your family, maybe not financially, but in terms of the emotional planning and just that confidence that, just think about it. When tragedy strikes, you don't think about who to call. You just press 911. And in this case, it's kind of similar. Tragedy strikes, and you need to have a different number to call. And that's where we come in.
All right, and this video was a little short because we only covered the first couple hours what you need to do on your end. So to be able to, when something happens, I hope this video helps you, and we'll see you on the next one.